Hannity Show.
All right, thanks, Scott Shannon. Welcome aboard. Glad you're with us from Pittsburgh and FM News Talk 104.7 WPGB. It's the Sean Hannity Show as we head to beautiful Wasilla, Alaska, where I understand the temperatures were, 10 or 20 below zero last week. Former Alaska Governor Sarah Palin. How are you, Governor?
I'm doing great, and Sean, it's warm enough today to snow, so we're thankful that it warmed up a little bit. Now we have a beautiful another white coating of this land.
This is so, it's for people listening right now in Fort Myers, Florida, Miami, Florida, Tampa, Florida. They're saying it's warm enough to snow. I don't think they fully grasp how cold it gets up there.
And maybe how long the winter lasts. You know, we go from October until April or May, and but summertime makes up for the cold and the dark. It's really gorgeous year round, and there's lots to do in this great outdoors, lots of fresh air.
At its worst, how many hours of light do you get on any given day?
Well, you know, solstice, December 21st, it'll be dark most of the time, especially up north. The sun doesn't come up in the very northern regions of Alaska for 60 days. It's dark continually, at least down here in the southern parts of Alaska. We have in the middle of the day daylight, so you can still get out and about and do your normal duties.
So kids will go to school and it's dark outside, and they'll get home and it's dark outside.
That's right. So we never tell our kids in the summertime, come in before it's dark, or you'll never see your kids because it won't get dark in the summer. And wintertime, you don't say that either. Otherwise, they'd be indoors the whole time.
Oh, that's funny. Well, anyway, it's great to have you back. You were on last night just before we had Herman Cain on in his interview, and I wanted to get your take on it. What do you think?
First, Sean, let me tell you, I really appreciate you being out and about today and supporting our troops. You really do a yeoman's job there in respecting what our brave servicemen and women do, and I appreciate you traveling today to be able to honor them. And, I had a good discussion with you last night after hearing the interview with Herman Cain. A lot of people just do not know what to believe. There's, I don't know, to put it bluntly, I guess, some kind of sketchy rationale and dismissals and excuses on both sides of this allegation of this affair. And like I told last night, if these are false accusations, then that false accuser is absolutely despicable and trying to ruin a good man. If it's true, though, then character counts. And I think that if somebody has engaged in a recent 13-year affair and their wife didn't know anything about money going to a female quote-unquote friend, well, that doesn't bode as well to their character as we'd like.
Well, it seems to me, and I brought this up with Herman last night, and he said, well, I don't think this is the time to play detective, and I don't know. I don't know if he was giving me a legal answer. I don't know how to interpret it, because I know his lawyers kind of lawyered him up a little bit, and I assume that there's going to be some investigative work on their part, but this seems easily provable or easily disproved on the other side, and that is she's claiming they've been together at hotel rooms, and they've been at boxing events, and that they've been meeting in cities. I would think you can get airline tickets and hotel records, right?
Well, right. So maybe now isn't the time to play detective, but it certainly is not the time to play Politico. And too often politicians want to pivot and skate and escape just bluntly answering the question. And in order to answer a question like this, like you're saying, Sean, there have got to be proof on one side or the other. Show those text messages or emails or plane tickets. Show some photographs, perhaps, of the two being together, and put this thing to rest so that we can all move on to the very, very important issues at hand.
Yeah, because he's so adamant about having done nothing wrong here and claiming he's a victim in all of this. And if his presidential run were, I guess, destroyed because of this, what a shame it would be if it was all based on a lie. I'm just trying to put myself in his position. I would be demanding, show me your airline tickets, show me your airline records, show me your credit card records. Here's my records. I never paid for an airline ticket for you. I never paid for a hotel room for you. We've never been in the same city together that I know of. Give me a time, give me a place, and then I would try and put it to bed as quickly as I can, which I guess he's probably reassessing, as he said, this weekend.
It's more to it, though, Sean, than just trying to unring the bell that these accusers have now rung. And you try to put yourself in his shoes. Well, I have been in his shoes, where I have been accused also of marital infidelity. What I have done is gone to the person who supposedly I had the affair with, which of course never happened. And this gentleman, he made a statement along with me saying it never happened. We proved it. However, so it's a done deal that the affair never happened. However, as I say, once a bell is rung, it's very tough to unring the bell. There is always then that speculation of their character, of, questioning what their morals and values are and how would they lead. And that is the purpose of false accusations. I'm sure you've been falsely accused of something.
Oh, many times.
It hurts,
I've just been accused that no one would believe of that an affair because no woman would go near me, but they do accuse me of being a Nazi, so it's one thing or the other.
I always laugh about the rumors or the accusations of affairs. I think, really, in between which pregnancies and which jobs and which, a very, very busy lifestyle, I've got enough on my plate. I don't need all that crap.
Last night you said something I disagree with, and you and I usually see eye to eye politically, and you kind of brushed off the notion that your endorsement would mean something in this campaign. I think you'd have a powerful impact if you came out today or next week and endorsed a candidate.
I honestly, and I don't say it to be believing of myself. I mean, it does no good to play small when you've been blessed with a platform and a voice, and you believe that you are representing a lot of good patriots in America. But I don't cast my vote based on anybody else's endorsement. I do my own homework, and I have faith in the wisdom of the American people that they're going to do their own homework and going to decide where is the dross that shall surface, where's the cream of the crop that's going to surface, and put that person up against Barack Obama, because that is our main focus here, is making sure that our republic survives. Our republic can only survive if we don't embrace the status quo, if we really shift gears here. And in order to do that, we have to replace Obama with a new team, a new game plan, and we have to forge ahead.
But you've endorsed candidates before, and it's helped them in primaries and in main elections, etc. Are you saying you won't endorse, or you just haven't decided?
No, I'm not saying I won't endorse. I'm just saying at this time, when there's still debates ahead, there's still a lot of fluid dynamic going on in this race. I still think people are going to be shifting around their positions in terms of standings in the polls. And I think at this point, it doesn't do me or anybody else a whole lot of good to endorse. But at some point, perhaps it will.
What do you make of the battle between Romney and Newt Gingrich? Romney saying that Newt is a lifelong politician, and Gingrich saying that he's more conservative and more electable.
Well, I heard Carl Cameron this morning on Fox News make a good point. He said the two of them kind of have to be careful in their accusations against each other, because you point one finger at one, well, three fingers are pointing right back at you in terms of the two of them going back and forth, because there is a perception that maybe not just them, but a lot in the GOP field running for president, all kind of are more of the same in terms of they've had opportunity to really fight hard and succeed in shattering the status quo. In anybody who has served in Congress, you have to remember, no one ever had a gun to their head making them vote for bloated and unsustainable budgets. Nobody had a gun to their head saying that crony capitalism within Congress has got to be allowed, and you better not sign on to the Stock Act, which would at least rein in some of the crony capitalism and insider dealings. And, nobody in Congress was ever forced to ask for special interest earmarks and subsidies. And yet, look at where we are today as a country. Under congressional leadership over all these years, we are in an unsustainable economic position in government that has grown too large, and it's really quashed the private sector and our entrepreneurial spirit. Now, that isn't speaking only of, say, those who have been in Congress like Bachmann or Gingrich, but others who have been in positions of power and authority in our nation in their leadership roles, whether as a governor or in different positions. If they do not have a track record of fighting hard for reform and taking the shots and having to take on their own party at many junctures in order to put government back on the side of the people, well, then there is that perception that, oh gosh, they all represent kind of the status quo, and we really need somebody to shake it up. So I don't mind this kind of back and forth wordsmanship battle between Romney and Gingrich. It's good because it's going to be able to allow us to, and the media, to vet the candidates. But they have to remember that what we're looking for is not the nitpicking amongst each other, but the focus on turning things around in this country, making sure Obama's a one-term president, and getting the country back on the right track with private sector progress.
What do you make of the polls? The latest poll numbers, for example, has Newt with a significant lead in the 30s, Romney at about 19%. Romney's been steady throughout the entire process. Newt has just had a recent ascendancy. Polls show him up in Iowa, Florida, South Carolina. It's very close in New Hampshire. Do you think he's able to sustain it? And do you think what do you make of Romney's consistency and maybe the fact that he hasn't broken out?
I think Newt's ascendancy is indicative of Americans really paying attention and being serious about these very serious times, because Newt is a serious candidate. And his proposals, though some people think he's overthinking things and he's got too many big ideas, well, at least what he's able to do is articulate what he believes the solutions are. And they're deep and they're heavy and they are serious. And people are appreciating that, though. They don't want some superficiality and some, gee, I'm in it just to get my name out there and, sell books and have a good time and get some publicity. No, we want a serious candidate. And to me, personally, I think Newt represents that seriousness. And in these grave times, that is exactly what we need in terms of debate skills and solutions proposed. We also, I believe, many GOP members believe that Newt would just wipe the floor with Obama in any debate, and that's something to look forward to if he makes it.
What do you think of some of the other candidates? And I know that you are in a position like you know all these people, and I like all of them. You even mentioned last night, I like Ron Paul's $1 trillion immediate cut to the budget. I don't like his foreign policy, but I think it's a bold economic policy, and I think it's something the country, frankly, it's a healthy dose of medicine if we ever got it. I like the Connie Mack Penny plan. I wish somebody would adopt that and run with it that's running for president. I want real cuts. I don't want, the same old baseline budgeting projected increases, and we only reduce the rate of increase in spending. I mean, I think there are major improvements. I mean, what do you think of all the other candidates that maybe haven't popped?
My number one criteria in terms of deciding who I would like to see rise even further in the polls is the ideological consistency that I look for. I don't like flip-floppers. I don't know how they can sleep at night if they have so fundamentally changed on a position in just a matter of a couple of years, perhaps. So when you look at the consistency, you can see in Ron Paul and Rick Santorum that steady, passionate resolve with their issues. You don't have to believe in every one of their issues. Like you and I spoke of Ron Paul, domestic spending, he's right on. He's facing reality. Some of his foreign policies kind of scare me, but he has been consistent. Santorum's been consistent. On the other hand, you have passionate individuals like Michelle Bachmann, who has, she hasn't been in Congress long, but in those years that she's been in Congress, and in fact, you got to pretty much take off another year of her congressional record because she's been running for office for this long. But in those few years in Congress, she has fought hard for some social issues that she really believes in, and I can respect that. Rick Perry as the governor, I like governors. I know that they are on the front lines, and it is on a state level and a local level that we're really going to see the positive pro-growth private sector changes that we need in the country. We're not going to get that out of Congress. Look what Congress has done over these decades. They've perpetuated problems. It's on the local level and state level that we've seen solutions, and so I respect a governor like Rick Perry who has implemented solutions. I appreciate sincerely all of them being out there, in front of a firing squad. Essentially, they know that they're going to take hits, and they're working hard, and they are willing to debate what they believe their best ideas are, and glad that they're out there.
Last question. You don't believe it, right? You think one of these other candidates can emerge if it comes down to Newt versus Romney. Are you happy with that choice?
I'm happy with the field. I'm going to be happier when I am convinced that our nominee, perhaps the top two nominees, as they duke it out at the end, that they are not going to embrace the status quo, which, again, what seems to be at least a perception of many, that is that which is represented by the GOP field. We cannot have the status quo. I will be happy when I am convinced that they get it and they know that there has to be sudden, relentless, drastic reform when it comes to governance.
All right, Governor Palin, now you're going to be at the conventions and debates and all that stuff, I hope?
Yeah, I hope so. I look forward to being able to be a participant, sure.
All right, Governor Palin from Alaska today. Governor, we always appreciate your time. I hope you have a great weekend. Thanks for being with us.
Thank you, and thank you again so much for supporting our troops.